You don't wake up in the morning wanting to worry, you don't choose anxiety like a favorite outfit. And yet it's there, following you like a shadow, always whispering, "What if?" Carl Jung believed this wasn't just a personal issue. He believed worry is not yours to begin with, but a symptom of something deeper. A mind split between who you really are and who the world taught you to be. And the more you ignore that split, the louder worry becomes. Carl Jung's entire philosophy centered around integration of the unconscious, not ignoring it, not running from it. According to Jung, when you suppress parts of yourself, especially the shadow, those parts don't disappear. They take control from behind the scenes. That's the root of worry, a hidden conflict between the self you present and the self you've disowned. Until you make the unconscious conscious, Jung warned, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. This is why worry feels so unpredictable. You try meditation, logic, distraction, but nothing seems to quiet it for long. Because the voice you're trying to silence is not random, it's you, or rather, the forgotten you, asking to be seen. Jung didn't believe worry could be solved through surface-level thinking. To him, it was the signal flare of something deeper. A call to bring your fragmented psyche back into wholeness. And the cost of ignoring it. A life that feels safe on the outside, but loud on the inside. That's why Jung didn't offer shallow comfort. He pointed us inward, to the chaos behind the mask, and taught us how to begin the real work of becoming whole. But that raises a deeper question. If worry isn't just emotional noise, but a message from the unconscious, how exactly do we read it? Carl Jung didn't just talk about worry as a psychological hiccup. He saw it as a natural reaction to a spiritual crisis. He believed most people live under the illusion that they're fully conscious, when in reality, most of their thoughts, fears, and decisions are driven by what he called autonomous complexes. These are fragments of your psyche, emotional energy that split off at some point in your past, and now live inside you, influencing how you react, often without you realizing it. That voice in your head that says, "You're not good enough." The fear that tells you something bad is about to happen. That tight feeling in your chest before you speak your truth. Jung would say, that's not you. That's a piece of you, cut off, buried, and now trying to be heard. And worry? That's one of the loudest ways those hidden parts get your attention. Jung once said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. That includes obsessively worrying. He wasn't judging it. He was pointing out that when you haven't made peace with yourself, your traumas, your guilt, your hidden drives, then you'll unconsciously project those tensions onto the outside world. You don't see things as they are. You see them as you are. This is why two people can live the same situation, and one is calm while the other is overwhelmed with anxiety. It's not about the event. It's about the inner lens through which they experience life. So, what happens when you ignore the inner world? Jung said that if you try to avoid your unconscious, it doesn't go away. Instead, it gets stronger. He believed that mental distress, especially constant worry or anxiety, is the result of ignoring your inner life for too long. You become a stranger to yourself. You try to outrun your emotions by being productive or logical, but inside you feel hollow, unsettled. There is no coming to consciousness without pain. That line from Jung isn't meant to discourage, it's meant to liberate. Because once you acknowledge the pain, once you stop numbing it or running from it, it loses its control over you. Worry starts to fade the moment you stop fighting it and start listening to what it's really about. So, what's the work? Jung's solution wasn't to stay positive or try harder. It was to become whole again. That meant exploring your dreams, observing your projections, recognizing your shadow. Not to judge these things, but to reclaim them, to accept that your fear, your doubt, your worry, these are not flaws. They're signals. And when you stop treating them like enemies, they become guides. Worry becomes a map, one that leads you back to yourself. Worry doesn't disappear overnight, but it stops feeling like a prison. It becomes a teacher. Even with this awareness, most people still don't let go, because the idea of living without worry, as strange as it sounds, is terrifying to the ego. Here's something Carl Jung never needed to say explicitly, because his entire body of work whispered it. Worry is a symptom of a divided self, and the more we identify with it, the more we stay divided. We worry because we feel like we're not in control. But Jung would ask you, who's the you that wants to be in control? Is it the surface mind? The part of you obsessed with fixing, predicting, overthinking? Or is it something deeper? The observer behind the thoughts, the one who watches the storm but isn't the storm. Jung's teachings gently pull you back into this truth. Worry doesn't come from your soul. It comes from the ego's obsession with survival, image, and security. Carl Jung didn't demonize the ego, he just refused to let it run the show. He saw the ego as just one part of the human psyche. But when we believe it's all we are, when we forget the self is more than the voice in our head, we begin to panic. We try to control everything. We become addicted to certainty. And here's the cruel twist. The more we try to control life, the more it controls us. We worry about the past as if it will change. We worry about the future as if we can script it. We worry about people, events, even ideas, all to distract us from the deeper fear of not being enough. But Jung saw through this game. He knew that the root of anxiety wasn't the outside world. It was the refusal to trust the unfolding of life itself. Real power isn't controlling life, it's trusting what you are. Carl Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That line isn't about astrology or destiny. It's about reclaiming your power. Because the truth is, you can live without being consumed by worry. Not because life is predictable. It never will be. Not because you've figured it all out. You never will. But because you're starting to realize you were never the one in danger. Your soul, the real you, doesn't need protection. It doesn't need control. It simply wants to be whole again, to remember itself, to be present. And the moment you stop clinging to worry as your safety blanket, the moment you loosen that grip, you create space for something you haven't felt in a long time. Peace. So what does this actually look like? It's not about perfection. It's not about being spiritually unbothered. It's about not chasing the worry anymore. It's about catching that thought before it spirals and saying, wait, that's not truth, that's fear. It's about noticing when you're trying to control someone's perception of you and choosing to show up anyway. It's about trusting that you can exist fully right now, even when nothing is certain. Because guess what? Nothing was ever certain. Carl Jung wouldn't say, never worry again. He'd say, know yourself so fully that worry no longer owns you. And when that happens, when the unconscious stops running your life from the shadows, you don't need the worry anymore. You've integrated it, you've seen it, and you've chosen something greater. That's not fantasy. That's what real freedom looks like.